Hi, I'm Blood Moon, an Eastern Circle. I'm very much behind on making videos, but 4 months ago, I decided to do a comparison between the Big Z and Howl Fabrics scraps and remnant boxes that they have for sale online. I purchased both on April 9th within 5 minutes of each other while perusing the aisles at my local Howl Fabrics. First up is Big Z Fabrics Faux Fur Scrap Boxes for $50. The box dimensions are listed online as 20-inch cubes and contain approximately 9 yards of fur, which is a great deal considering a yard of first run stuff goes for about $23. My next order was from Howl Fabrics. I really wanted to compare like-size scrap boxes as best as I could, but Howl Fabrics is out of their larger 6+ yard remnant boxes, so I opted for 2 of their 3-yard boxes for $29.99 each. Howl's site provides a little bit more detail on what the remnant boxes contain, which is mainly defects or overall poor fur aesthetics. So here's a real quick comparison between Big Z and Howl. It compares the cost of the box, the shipping costs that I had for specifically to me in Arizona, and finally how many yards per box. So like I said previously, I purchased the items on April 9th within 5 minutes of each other. The Big Z scrap boxes made it to me first on April 12th, and the Howl boxes arrived second on April 22nd, a difference of 10 days in shipping. To assist in opening the boxes, I called in my local fur expert, Voodoo. She might be stinky, but she does know fur. This was filmed so long ago I didn't even have my own hand or foot paws yet. Alright, let's open the first box, Big Z. As I said earlier, these boxes are big. They're good 20-inch cubes, just chock full of fur. So I'd like to point out the size of these fur scraps and remnants that we get from Big Z. Most of these are probably a good half yard minimum, up to maybe a yard. I've seen up to about 2 yards from these scraps, so definitely good sized chunks to work with. As I'm taking my first look at these chunks, overall they look like they're in good condition. The black here looks like it might be a little light, so just not a super deep dark black that it should be, but overall not a bad deal, which actually works well with kind of like purples and reds. The furs in general look pretty good. They don't have a whole lot going on, but this scrap here, this is probably a good 2 yards. It's probably the biggest error that I've seen in this box, which you can kind of see the stripes going in it. That's just a mismatch of woven. It's missing like a line or two, so you can definitely see the problems as you look at the fur side. But when it comes to the longer furs, if there's a mismatch in woven area or skip lines, really it doesn't seem to show through. However, I have not checked to see how it actually looks when you start shaving it down. But in general, this is really what I'm using the fur for, is just to build my experience as a fursuit builder, and it gives me a variety of furs to actually work with. That way, I'm not spending a ton of money on the furs when I'm just practicing. Now this is a really nice piece of silver or gray colored fur. It lays real nicely, real pretty. It's got a nice sheen to it. If you keep up with what I'm working on, currently I'm working on Jinx the Wolf, and this is being used on Jinx's mock-up, and will probably be used in the build as well. And as we're scraping towards the bottom of the box, looks like a nice piece of Arctic fox in black. That's one of my favorite fabric types. It's what I use on Blood Moon's head. And then the very last piece is a nice orange. It looks like gorilla or monster fur. Okay, then we'll pop into the second box from Big Z. So for fabric like this, it looks like you got a piece of tape on it. That's most likely from the end of the roll, so usually just not quite a full yard and not really a sellable item. Plus it's got the tape and maybe some mismatches along the edge. Once again, got some more of that Arctic fox, it looks like. I love this stuff, so I'm so glad I got another second set. It's kind of some cream color, which I don't have really much of, so this is a nice addition. Then some gray, once again. This one seems to have some weird lines in it. We'll see if I can get that out with some heat and a little bit of brushing, but overall it looks like it's in good condition. Like I said, most of these pieces that come from Big Z are nice large chunks, so if you have a problem with it, it's usually in a small little section and you can't cut around and have plenty of options because, hey, patterning usually has a lot of space and unfortunately some scraps that you create, so. Alright, so some more cream. Looks like some more of this husky color with the tips. Once again, it's pretty light on the black. A little bit of gold. Kind of reminds me of like a grizzly. Real pretty. A little bit of pink. I think I tried to use a little bit of this on Jinx, but I don't know if the colors quite go with what I'm looking for. Then we have some white. And then this pink on the very bottom. Once again, used on Jinx. Probably on the cheeks and ears, but one of my favorite colors, so works pretty well. Jinx is gonna be two-tone, pink and blue. And now we'll get into the Howl Fabric box. So these are the boxes. They're obviously quite a bit smaller than that of the Big Z. Probably 12-inch cubes, and they say they hold about 3 yards. Just like the Big Z, I'd like you to see the size of the different remnants and scraps that we get from Howl. This is probably the largest piece we get, which is maybe half a yard, maybe a quarter yard. Piece, however, is pretty nice. It's usable, plenty of decent looking fur. This one's not so bad either, probably about 10 inches or so. Still somewhat usable. Big enough to be able to make some patterns out of it. However, the fabric's a little bit wrinkly, but hopefully some heat and brushing will get that. Now we're getting down to about 4 inches. Really, I just can't think of much of a use for this. But it's really just a piece there that had some Sharpie written on the back, and they chopped it off and sent it to us. Another about 2 or 3 inch wide strip. Not much I can do with this, but I will hold on to it, and just in case we might need a small strip for something. Okay, maybe 4 to 6 inches of brown. Looks like maybe a beaver. Real pretty stuff, but not a whole lot of it there, so might be able to squeeze some hand paws, get some fingers out of it. This fur looks pretty matted up. Hopefully some brushing and, I don't know, not the greatest looking stuff. Kind of some more creamy color there. Again, meh, not too bad, but nothing exciting about it. This orange is really nice. It's kind of a rust color. I really like it. Hopefully the creases and stuff like that come out. Some nice brown. Little tiny chunk of blue. Kind of a aqua color. And then, forgot one thing that Howl boxes have is they've got some remnants with Minky in it, so that's kind of nice. the purple works real well with a few of the things that I've done recently. And then this platinum or whatnot. Hopefully the fur defects, kind of that wrinkle, weird look in it comes out, but I'm not having high hopes. And just another small, probably 10-inch piece. And that's about it from the first Howl box. Overall, I'm not too excited at this point. Really the only thing of use to me in that box is probably that blue. Alright, here we go. Opening of the second box. Looks like we have some kind of gold or yellow and a nice little pink. So, again, that's probably a good 12-inch chunk or so. I figure that's about the smallest usable pieces are probably about good 12 inches, so I'll take those. That thing looks kind of rough. Looks like maybe some heat got to it. Looks fine on the back, but I don't know, these are kind of crunchy, crusty, kind of melted together. Not that great. But it's a cool fur. Kind of reminds me of some wiry dog fur. We have this massive chunk of pink. It's really pretty, just not much of it. A little gray. Looks alright. It's a real pretty purple, but kind of small. Another real pretty chunk of blue, however, I don't know, the waviness in the fur. I don't have high hopes that'll come out, but we'll see. Some creamy minky. Some real pretty brown fur. It's actually one of my favorites I think that this box has. Unfortunately, it's just so small. But it's really cool. I don't know, I don't like that style fur a whole lot. It just kind of mats up and, yes, not my favorite. A little more purple. Different color minky there. Yeah, well, that's pretty much it from the Howl boxes. It's probably about 6 yards according to them. So just as a quick comparison, this is what I have done more or less with all my Big Z fabrics. They're out, displayed, where I can find what I'm looking for pretty quick and readily. I have a lot of my more used furs right here with Hypnotic laying down on them. Got a lot of plenty big pieces overall. Can't complain about what I have there. But in the past 4 months, I've had the Howl Fabrics more or less just put in a box. Haven't touched them yet. Haven't used one yet. Haven't even considered using one yet. So in the end, my preference has been probably using the Big Z. Now I just want to make it clear that I'm only comparing the 2 different companies' scrap and remnant boxes. Not the mainline furs or anything like that, because I know that Howl has an amazing line of furs and that the quality is reportedly higher and better than that of Big Z. But for me, that just wasn't the case in this small comparison. But the clear winner in quality of scrap furs definitely goes to Big Z for me. The scraps are large enough to work with, and I rarely had a scrap that I just couldn't use. All in all, I was left very disappointed in Howl. First in the shipping speed, which was about a week and a half longer than that of Big Z. And then secondly, the remnants were just disappointingly small. Well, the remnants really just weren't even large enough to do anything with. If you have had a different experience with the Howl remnants than I have, it looks like I just didn't get a typical box, please let me know. Thank you for watching, and if this unboxing was helpful, please leave a thumbs up and please consider subscribing. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.